I'm Zim, and you're listening to the Helpful Photographer Podcast in collaboration with New York City Photo Safari. To register for a safari, please visit newyorkcityphotosafari.com. This is another episode for Vicky out in Tulsa, Oklahoma. She's back with another question. This time, she wants some advice on printing photo books. And I love this question because I actually used to make handmade photo books for my wedding clients. So I've had a lot of experience thinking about this. So where do we start? Well, when you're putting a book together, to me, the most important thing to keep in mind is that it's not just a collection of photos. It's a story. Every good story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. To me, what that means is open strong. Start with an image that grabs attention and sets the tone for everything that follows. And then end strong. Save a powerful image for the very last page. It's the one people will remember. And right in the middle of the book, put something that gives the viewer a moment to pause before turning the corner into the second half of the story. Now, in Vicky's case, she went to New Zealand with me in May, so her book could follow that journey chronologically, starting on the North Island, where we visited Hobbiton, and then the geothermal geysers of Rotorua, and later, the landscapes and little details we photographed on the South Island, like the tiny blue mushrooms. A group photo at the end of the book could wrap up the story beautifully. Strangers becoming friends, sharing incredible experiences, and then parting ways. As you're choosing photos, remember, less is more. You want as few images as possible to tell the story without boring yourself or your audience 10 years down the road. But if you've got shots that matter sentimentally, even if they're not the most wow photos, you can still include them. Shrink them down, make them part of a grid, or tuck them into an inset on a page with a stronger main image. For instance, aside from spending time taking photos of beautiful landscapes, our group also spent time together traveling in a van, sharing great meals and doing a wine tasting. We even floated down a river on inner tubes. Those photos probably don't merit individual pages, but they can be shared as a collage or a grid of images on 1 or 2 pages within the book. That's something I actually did with wedding books. Instead of showing endless shots of people dancing, I'd pick a couple of key images of the couple and then used a grid of smaller shots to capture the rest of the people. You can do the same. Maybe a page with 9 or 12 little moments that complete the story without overwhelming it. Now, let's talk about design for a second. Keep it simple. Too many different layouts or styles can make the book feel really messy. Use white space. It makes everything feel more elegant. Full bleed images are fine once in a while, but don't overdo it. And if your printer offers it, go for a book that lays flat. It makes flipping through so much more enjoyable. And thicker paper also makes it feel better too. A couple of other design tips. Be mindful of where you place images in a grid. On a right-hand page, the bottom right corner image is the last thing people will see as they turn the page. Make it count. If the grid is on the left-hand page, it's the top left image that draws the eye first. If you have 2 images on opposite pages, consider how they interact visually. How does the flow move from left to right? If you add text, keep it minimal. After all, it's a photo book. Use small type and consider soft gray instead of pure black so the text doesn't compete with the images. For a really elegant look, try placing a single paragraph centered on a page with no photo at all. This creates a clean, sophisticated look that lets your words breathe. And if you've got a dust jacket option, it's a great place for an image you just couldn't find a place for inside the book. What about materials? I like cloth covers and sturdy board for that tactile feel. As for paper, matte tends to look a bit nicer, but be careful, dark tones can get muddy. Glossy can pop, but sometimes it feels less refined. That part's really a matter of taste, so that's up to you. And lastly, while I said to start with a story, it doesn't mean your book has to tell an actual narrative. Even if it's purely a collection of images, it still needs to flow visually as you move from one page to the next. For example, you might begin with landscapes and mountains, then transition to rivers and trees. followed by animals, and finally close-ups of maybe mushrooms. You wouldn't want to jump directly from mountains to mushrooms from one page to the next. But what if you showed mountains with an inset of mushrooms? That could work. It might create an interesting visual connection. So to sum up, start with the story or flow. Keep it simple. Choose fewer images and design with intention. That's my recipe for a photo book I think will make people want to look again and again. And a great place to print your photo book? Try Printique.com. I'll leave a link in the show notes. Thanks for the great question, Vicky. I hope that was helpful. Until next time, keep on shooting.